Good evening and welcome to Hot Topics from the Soul. I'm your host, Dr. Valerie Parker Hagan.
And I'm your co host, Dr. J.R. Thicklin, and 'tis the season to each and every one of you.
Absolutely. This season is your season. As a matter of fact, you have the power to make it your greatest season ever.
Exactly. Seasons does not have to be defined by just necessarily activities or festivities. Seasons can be defined by your mindset, by your purpose, and by your aim. And when you take that in mind, you have just carved out this space and this time saying that it is my season of victory, it's my season of accomplishment, it is my season of breakthrough, it is my season of righting the ship. And so you can make it up in your mind, this is your season, and not give into all the distractions there that is constantly competing for your attention and convincing you that it's not your time.
Yeah, there's so many distractions right now, Dr. J. People are going through so many different things, and it becomes frightening and heart-wrenching sometimes. We see things on television, on social media, and you see people going through, and then when you see things actually happen to other individuals, you say, oh my, it isn't that bad after all. My life isn't that bad because I have the ability to live my best life right now. And sometimes, if depending on what lens we look at, we can rewrite that script that we're seeing or for ourselves and envision a life greater than you ever imagined.
You're exactly right. And what you're talking about is being able to look through an optical perspective in which it can determine actually the outcome of your life. So we often talk about the fact that those things that we constantly rehearse is the things that we bring to us. So if we're looking at life through a very negative optic, then we will draw to us very negative things to happen to us. And that's when we feel like we're overwhelmed, we're swallowed, we feel insignificant. It leads to depression and those things. But on the other hand, when we're able to look through the lens of optimism, the lens of faith, the lens of possibility, the lens of beginning again, that is when we begin to draw those things to us that gives us strength and encourage us. And so that is why we're motivated sometimes when we see someone doing worse than we are, because we say, wow, it's not that bad after all. And, hey, let me get up from here and make something happen. And that's exactly what we're talking about tonight. Being able to take ownership of your season, taking ownership of this time and saying, listen, this is my time to strive, to flourish. And this is my time to if you would, to soar, and make that up in your mind. And don't look for somebody else to have to always come
Right.
and affirm that. Being able to do so despite what naysayer said, despite what yesterday was, this is my season. My new season begins right now.
Dr. J, do you know that most individuals go through depression because they're waiting for someone to validate who they are?
Yeah, it's a sad thing because, as much in life, we all have the sense of we want to be needed or wanting to be accepted. We don't need to be in the degree that our very existence, our very manner to be able to thrive or to move on is based upon somebody coming to rescue us or to affirm us in those instances. We ought to be able to look at our lives and look over our lives and be able to find reasons to affirm ourselves. If you ever overcome anything, it ought to be sufficient enough evidence to help you overcome the next thing.
Exactly. But sometimes it seems so emotionally overbearing till we succumb to the negative as opposed to reaching higher to the positive states in our lives. And we become overwhelmed with the depression and the suicide or wish I wasn't here. And we always look back at woulda, coulda, shoulda, things we should have done and we didn't do. And we wonder what people are saying about us. And that is really not your concern. Your concern is you getting to the next level. Your concern is you waking up each day saying, this is my time, this is my season, and I'm going to make life happen for me. I'm not going to make life happen for you. I'm going to make life happen for me because I'm worth it. And I think we need to focus on the fact that regardless of what it looks like or how we may feel, we are worth it.
Exactly. Giving ourselves the permission to move forward and say that we're worth it. Because one thing about our past can serve a twofold process to us. Watch this. Our past, if we're not careful, can be used to encage us, to imprison us to all of our past mistakes, our failures, our disappointments, the things that we fell short in. And if we over focus on our past, what happens? Our past doesn't become, if you would, a liberation. It becomes, if you would, an imprisonment to us. By the same token, our past can also be the springboard to moving forward. In other words, when I look at things that I have overcome, things that I've been able to go through, things that I've been able to accomplish in spite of, let it be a springboard to me going forward. Because none of us, think about it, none of us sits here and get in depression because we failed when we first started trying to walk. None of us, get in depression because of the fact we had a boo-boo, we tripped or whatever. We understood that was part of life. It was the process of learning. It's that process. And when we cause ourselves to succumb to expectations of others that focus on our past in a negative way, then what we're doing is that we're giving them permission. We're giving other people too much power over our lives. And sometimes it's power that they didn't even ask for. But it's power that we gave away because of the fact of our mindset. And we have to change our mindset. If we don't change anything else, change our mindset. I believe in a place called hope. I believe in a place called possibility. I believe in a place called better than. And that means that because I believe there, that's where I'm headed. That is where my expectations are. I refuse to become prisoner of my past. So I used to say this many years ago, don't let the failures of your past cripple your future. And too often that is what happened. And then things build up and they build up and it seems like things are overwhelming us. And then we start feeling depressed and then we start feeling unworthy. Then we start feeling like I didn't make it. I start feeling like a disappointment. And then all that is in the light of us oftentimes comparing ourselves to others, not knowing what others have gone through. You don't know what that person have done to pull themselves up to be where you perceive that they are now. So keep that in mind that when you're moving forward, your season begins today. You can begin to not only command your morning, command your day, but you can command your season.
Absolutely. And you're so inspirational to me, Dr. J. You balance out and smooth out my rough edges. And I appreciate you so much.
And likewise, believe me, absolutely. That's why it's such a powerful thing, because what it's a witness of, it's a witness of the aura and the energy that is produced. That's why it's so important that the people that we surround ourselves with, because we're around people that are always pessimistic. These are individuals that will pull defeat out of the jaws of victory. These are the people that, listen, these are the people that they're right at the finish line and they trip just before they got there, because in their mindset, they always see what's going to happen wrong. They only imagine the worst that can happen. They are actually graduates, magna cum laude, of Murphy's Law. But then you have to be around people that are pessimistic, who believes. And sometimes pessimistic people can be a little spooky, because guess what? They don't see barriers as much as other people do. They see possibility. They don't ask what's wrong. They see what's right. They find a solution to every problem, not a problem to every solution. And that changes the course of things. So when we smooth out each other's edges, it's because we believe in a place called hope. And we believe that right now is not it. This is not where I put my flag in the ground. This is only where I continue to move up. Kind of like a person who's going there, they're skiing and they're going up like this. And so they keep going up and up and up. And they don't look back because they understand nothing is behind them but their past.
Dr. J, people are watching us and saying, yeah, but you don't know what I've been through. You don't know my heart's been broken. You don't know I've had losses in my life. You don't know. I said, people are looking at us and seeing all glory, but they don't know the story. They don't know the struggle. They don't know the pain. Did I ever feel like giving up sometimes? Yeah, I did. But I knew that my existence was greater than me. I had children. I had family that I knew loved me. So my existence was greater than me and what I felt, because of the fact that there was something at that end. And like you said, I'm too nosy not to get up every morning and see what the end's going to be. I want to know what it's going to be. I'm too nosy. I want to see what that next page looks like in my life, because I knew where I've been. and I knew the
Right.
struggles I went through to get where I am here. So now I'm excited about the next. And I want to say to you, what is that next in your life look like? You're like, well, I don't have a next. I'm busy trying to get through right now today. What is my next? I have no idea. But guess what? All those dreams, all those aspirations, all those things you envisioned for yourselves and couldn't quite figure out how to get there or how to do it. It's not none of your business how it's going to be done. But one thing you can't do is sit back doing nothing, because when you're in alignment with your assignment, the doors will open for you to say, oh, I could do that. Oh, this is something I see myself doing. Oh, can you connect me so that I can do this and do that? But you sitting down in a box, not opening that door for light to come in, will surely shut you down. And you don't want that. So open that door and let other individuals in. Start writing that book. When you're going through something mentally, the best thing to do is take it out of your head and put it on paper.
Absolutely.
Take it out of your head and put it on paper, write it down, make it plain, so that when you go back and read it, you'll say, okay, even if it's something painful, take it out of your head, because it frees up your heart. It frees up your emotions. Put it on paper. And if it's something devastating, write it on that paper, fold it up and burn it, if you will. And Absolutely. You don't even have to look back at that no more, and move on and cause that shift emotionally so you can get to that next level. Everybody has to reset in life, no matter who you are, how great you are, how much money you have or how much money you don't have. If it's short, fat, skinny, tall, does not matter. Everybody has to reset.
And we have to be fine with it. You said something that was so important. You talked about getting to your next and declaring what that next is. And those of you that are watching, we invite you to comment. Put in the comment box, what's your next? Maybe you haven't thought about your next, but I want you to think about your next going forward. What is my next? Because here's the thing about it, and you made it so clear. One of the reasons that we have to get it out of our head and put it on paper, because you know what? When we are storing too much in our mind, too much in our head, when we're storing too much negativity, it gets crowded up there. It gets crowded there. And so that's why people feel overwhelmed, because they are storing all the negative things in their mind, in their head. So now the negative things of your past is crowding the room in your mind, the room in your head. And so now it's like you and 15 other people trying to live in a one-bedroom apartment. It's getting crowded and it gets crowded. So in order for you to make room, that you got to get some of this stuff out of your head. Write it down. Even things that you feel like you couldn't do, write it down. Write it down, get it out of you, because of the fact you need to make room. Even when we're working with computers and we're working with internet and things like that, there comes a time that we have to clear the cache. Why? Yes. We have to clear the browsing data, because guess what? It gets so much there, and then it begins to slow down our progress and slow down its function. Could it be the reason why you've slowed down? Could it be the reason why you're feeling depressed? Could it be the reason why you feel the sense of apathy and lethargy? Because of the fact you have not cleared out your cache. You've not written it down. You've not gotten it out of you. And so you are constantly being reminded of what you didn't do. And you've lived, and would have, should have, could have has a permanent address in your head. And you got to evict some things out of your head, evict some things out of your mind in order for you to move forward, or you will continue to see every day as the same day. And that's what I'm saying. How do I get to my next? The first step is to say goodbye to my past. I can't get to my next if I'm still married to what was yesterday. And we've got to make it intentional, a deliberate effort. It's not going to happen because Superman came and rescued you. It's not going to happen because the bishop put oil on you and sprinkled you and gave you 5 scriptures. It's not going to happen because of any of those reasons. It's going to happen because you showed up. You showed up, as you often say, you showed up in your own rescue. You showed up. And so make up in your mind, it's not enough. We're grateful that we wake up every morning, but waking up is only step 1. You had nothing to do with that. So you still haven't put no effort in waking up. That was divine that you woke up today. It wasn't because of your alarm clock. It wasn't because of Alexa. It wasn't because of any of those things. That was divine. You woke up. That means that you report it. You report it to earth, consciousness again. But the next step inside of you determining your destiny is definitely dependent on your effort and your participation. And that is not just to wake up, but to show up. Show up for the opportunity. Show up for the challenges. Show up for the task that is ahead of you. And if you don't show up, then you cannot have any voice inside of what the outcome is. So I'm encouraging you to show up. Show up before you give up. Show up before you throw in the towel. Show up before you just decide that life isn't worth living. And I promise you that if you will show up, there's always a divine appointment. There's always a divine appointment that is awaiting you if you simply show up.
Absolutely. The battlefield is definitely in the mind, Dr. J. We battle and we struggle in the mind. So what do we have to do? We have to recondition our minds, not with reality television, but we have to recondition our minds with things that are edifying. Read edifying and motivational books to inspire you to tap into your greatest vision of yourself. This is what we have to do, not dwell on somebody else's lies, because, you know, the television does disperse lies, and we envision things that aren't real. We envision things that are fake, and then we want to be a part of that fake life. But we're living a reality that is overwhelming and overcoming to us emotionally and mentally. So we have to reset and reposition ourselves and change the people we surround ourselves with. We're always surrounding ourselves with toxic people. And if you do that, you can't get to the next level. Those of you that are listening to us, listen, you're in the greatest season of your life. Every day that you get up is a good season because you're part of it. Get up, brush your teeth, wash your face, shake your hair out like Samson did when he was getting ready to slay Goliath, and run out there, go forward, and you create your own universe, your universe of truth, power, and peace. And you stir up that joy that's within you. Don't allow individuals to dictate your reality. You cause the shift and be the shift that you want to be.
What you said so much there, because the fact you got to put the emphasis once again on you. Some people are looking for someone to rescue them. And we often say that, you know, in this life, you know, we have different types of individuals. We have people that, you know, we have people that they wish things would happen. There are people that make things happen. Then there's that group that always wonder what happened. Right. And too often the what happened group is the ones who wasn't in the game. They didn't show up. They were simply existing, but they were not living. And this is the time of year, especially now, where it's time to take inventory of our lives, look over the whole year, and be able to be honest enough with ourselves to say there's some things that I missed an opportunity on. There's some things that perhaps had I put a little bit more effort in, it could have been accomplished. There's some things that I made excuses for that literally could have been the destiny changer for my life. And so when you said earlier about the fact that all of us have to hit the reset button from time to time, that is a true statement. It is about hitting the reset button, understanding the fact that sometimes, even with our phones, you think about it, they freeze up sometimes. We have issues with them, and there are times we have to power them down in order to power them back up. There are times we have to hit the reset button. Why? Because it allows everything to recalculate and to not only calculate, but recalibrate. Some of us today, it's a matter of recalibrating your life. This is no time to get in the blues and feeling bad about yourself and rehearsing sad songs and Christmas, not Christmas, without the one you love and all these things there, which simply feeds to your emotional dungeon. Understand this. You've got to understand if you don't have no chestnuts to roast by an open fire, you need to still cry joy to the world. You still need to understand that you are in a position, because if you're willing to show up, I promise you on the other side, and that's where I'm trying to get to, is the other side. I know what this side feels like. But my goal is to get to the other side, because the other side is where possibilities and preparation meets each other. That's where opportunity and preparation come together. And that is what birthed what we call the possible. It birthed those things that we did not think that could happen. And so we have to be deliberate, we have to be intentional, and we have to be downright focused in this time. And so I want to say that to somebody because of the fact this isn't a time to start counting what you don't have. This is the time to talk about, well, I didn't have enough to get my kids, and didn't get this person, this, that, and another. I understand the emotional connection, but I keep reminding us that that is an artificial construct.
Exactly.
What you're able to do for December 25th is not a defining of who you are 365 days of the year. So don't allow one moment to define every moment. And yet you can take one moment today, make up your mind that from this moment forward, I'm entering into my season of not only prosperity, my season of recalibration, my season of rebuilding, my season of grabbing the possibility and run with it. And I'm telling you that if you're willing to run, if you're willing to show up, if you're willing to meet it head on, that listen, what's on the other side is going to blow your mind, but you won't know until you show up.
Exactly. And, I think that's what hinders a lot of individuals, Dr. J. They can't even envision what that other side looks like because they refuse to turn that page.
Yes.
And, it's just like reading a good book, good or bad book. You're excited. You want to know what the end's going to be.
Exactly.
So I encourage you to try at least to turn the page. Whatever is going through, what you're going through, you are growing through it. And it's going to make you better because guess what? You're going to be a mouthpiece to pull somebody else that may be in the situation or the spot you're in right now. And I like the fact, Dr. J, that you said, don't allow one moment to define every moment. And that's what we do. We put all these resources, all these emotions on to December 25th. And, I wonder if they're going to like my gift. I wonder if this is going to go right. I wonder if this, I wonder. But what you do is what you give from the heart. And even if you give somebody a card, it is from the heart. People put so much emphasis on things. And then a lot of things I get, they're just sitting somewhere. Clothes I get, they're just sitting somewhere still with the tags on. And we put all this emphasis on getting that because why? This is a way we feel that we're showing someone we care or that we love them. But in actuality, these are only things. People value you more than things. So we need you to show up, not the things. We need you to show up because you're a true representation of who you are.
You're absolutely right. And I think so many times we get really distorted in our thoughts about what is urgent and what is critical. They sound the same, but they're not necessarily the same. And so oftentimes we will make something critical that was simply only urgent. We make it critical inside of that. You said something that's so funny. It reminds me of myself. And believe me, it's no disrespect, but I have things that I received 3 Christmases ago that I'm just not opening now. I have things that were bought 4 Christmases ago that I'm just not opening now. My children used to say, Dad, why don't you just open your gifts when you get them? And because I'm kind of like situational type of person, and I tried to do better, and I'm still trying. And so this year here, a couple of weeks ago when I went to Minnesota, knowing that it was very cold, man, I was able to pull out the long johns and things that was bought 3 years ago because the situation dictated it that I needed it. But what I'm saying, nobody died in those 3 or 4 years that went on and I did not wear the gift. I did not use the gift. And so we have to understand by the same token, don't make critical moments out of things just simply urgent to us. We're able to navigate. Whatever we're in is not permanent. It's not. I promise you, if we live for the next several hours, 24 hours will pass and it'll be a new day. It'll be a new day. And so that's why we often say that whatever you're going through, it cannot last. It did not come to stay. It only came to pass. The sun has to set. and yet it has an appointment in the morning to rise.
Mm.
And we have to understand it may be set on this side of the earth, but on the other side, it's risen there. And what I'm saying to a person that, once again, that other side, don't dare give up. If you haven't experienced the other side.
Absolutely.
You haven't got the other side of the problem. So let us go over to the other side. Before I bury myself in the sand here, make up in your mind that I'm going to the other side. Make up in your mind that I'm willing to turn the page. Turn the page in my life. That's what life is. Life is a book. It's a book that is comprised of sentences and paragraphs on each page. And we get to the place to understand that now it's time to turn the page. And as I turn the page, I'm entering a new chapter now of my life. Yes, that was the season I was in there. Chapter 1 told the story of perhaps my challenges and my adversity and my disappointment. But I'm turning the page because there's a new chapter that is being written. And this chapter is going to speak of my emergence, my resilience, my triumph. And that's what we have to be able to envision. Vision is the ability to perceive destiny.
Wow.
It is standing in the now, but seeing the then. Standing in my present, but seeing my future. And so therefore, my present don't have an opportunity, or my past don't have an opportunity to imprison me, because I'm too much set on what's ahead of me. And that's what we have to understand. Even in the good book, Paul talked about the things that I'm forgetting, those things that are what? Behind me.
Behind.
Good, bad, or indifferent. But I'm looking forward to those things that are before me. And in my looking forward, there's a summons on the other end that is calling me that I may press toward the mark of the prize of the high calling. What did it say? There's high. There's a high. So there's something better for us. And I've always believed this, has always been my saying, that I believe that what we're being called to is greater than what we're being called from.
That is so powerful, Dr. J. You know, time is wrapping up really quick for us, and there's so much information, but we thought it'd be a good idea to inspire and motivate individuals through this holiday season, because December 25th is coming right up on us. And then we're going to be rolling into the New Year's. Yes, it is. But you know, you are in your greatest season right now, and don't be distracted by the distractions of life. As I said, Dr. J and we went through some things. Lord have mercy. We have went through some things, but we're still here and standing because we decided to turn the page. We need you to turn the page each and every day. Get up and get it together. You know, one of the things I used to say, Dr. J, before I knew it was an affirmation, I created my own affirmation. I said, my today is better than my yesterday. And my tomorrow is going to be better than my today. I used to say that every day, laying in my bed when I was contemplating getting up and doing something.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Depressions overcomes us all at some point in time in our lives. We're trying to figure it out. Like I said, it's not an economic status. Depression is not an economic status. So everybody will experience it in one time in their life or another. Even in the loss of a loved one, you will go through some depression. So just focus on the fact that wherever I am right now, today, it is better than yesterday, and my tomorrow is going to be better than my today. And if you keep saying that to yourself, you begin to believe it, and you can aspire to do better from there.
Absolutely. You know, Dr. Val, you put the National Mental Health Illness Hotline there, and that is for this reason here. And for those of you that say, well, why did they put that up? Because you know what? Depression, those things are real. Being overwhelmed, those things are real. Now, we're not saying substitute the hotline for prayer, because we believe in prayer as the first thing, and that's the first thing that we go to. But we also understand that some things come in form of healing that goes beyond just a word of prayer. Sometimes the answer is in the mechanism, in the resources that are there. Listen, don't be too proud to get help. Don't be too proud to get help. Mental illness, if you're honest with ourselves, at any given time, we all may suffer from a mental illness. Even if it's depression, it doesn't have to be chronic depression, but the beginning of it starts with just being depressed. Whatever it may be.
And builds.
And it builds. So We want to encourage individuals, listen, in this time, in this season, if you're entertaining anything about feeling less than, unworthy, feeling like ending it all and checking out, you don't have to do so. Listen, there are resources out there to talk to. National Mental Illness Hotline, 1-800-950-6264. It is there 24/7. Someone's there to walk with you and talk with you through that. And by the same token, I want you to know something. Those of you that may have loved ones that you're surrounded by, perhaps going through mental depression and going through frustration and those things, feeling overwhelmed, this is an opportunity for you to be able to reach out and help them. Because sometimes, even as family members and friends, you feel helpless because you don't know what to say and you don't know what to do. And you're not a trained mental health therapist or counselor and whatever. But I'm saying that you don't have to be. You
Right.
can call, you can pick up the phone, you can refer. It is out there to do so. But I want to say to you, in the midst of doing all of these things, sometimes you have to unpack the things that you're going through.
Yes.
So that this holiday season won't be something that is a dark place.
Yes.
But this is the time that we can say, the light has come. And the light comes through not only information, knowledge, but the light comes through the fact of you knowing that you know that there's a better day ahead. And that's what we want to encourage you in tonight.
Absolutely. Individuals talk about vision boards. Vision boards is a board that you take pictures, you can go in magazines and stuff, and you cut out information or things that you envision yourself going or doing, and you put it up before you. And they said, well, Dr. Val, I've already done that, and none of these things have materialized. Could it be because you've not taken any steps to get to that level? So
Exactly.
This is your season. You are in the greatest season of your life right now. Take it out of your head and put it on paper. This is the best time for you to write your bestseller. Take it out of your head and put it on paper. That's how I wrote my first book, From the Soul of a Woman, Love
Yes.
Shouldn't Hurt. And I sold over 15,000 copies of that book.
Yes.
And it has, that's hard copies. That's not talking about the downloads, because people want information. People want to be whole. People want to know who you are, where you've been, and how did you get there. So this is the best time, this season of your life. Take it out of your head and put it on paper so that you won't be walking around angry and mad with the world because you have all this stuff bottled up inside. And reach out to the 800 number if you want someone to talk to, because sometimes you just need someone where you can be authentic.
Right.
We're non-judgmental. Just be authentic with how you feel and what's going on in your life. There are individuals that are assigned to help you so you can walk out things that are in your head. The battlefield is always in the mind, and then it spreads through the body. So get it out of your head.
Absolutely. And, and one of the things, Dr. Val, as we approach Christmas, Hanukkah, and Kwanzaa, all those things there, each of them have a symbol of hope and peace inside of
Yes.
it. And we have to look at what this means. This is a time of hope. I'm saying that you don't have to end the year on a negative note. You can end this year on a positive note, making yourself ready, finishing strong. I don't care what disappointments that occurred early in the year. I don't care what shortcomings happened, what failures happened in the course of the year. Listen, it's time to be thankful, to give thanks. It's time to imagine yourself into greatness. I sit there and I reflect that what a year 2022 was for me. I came into this year with my second bout of COVID-19. Only just a few months later. Yeah, only just a few months later to end up with an allergic reaction to a medication that caused me to have a very violent seizure that caused me to bump my head and go through the hospital and all that, and to be discharged, and only for a month later for the symptoms to show up and have massive bleeding on the brain that led to emergency brain surgery.
Yes.
Can you believe here we are today?
Here you are. Here you are.
Rejoicing, speaking, totally cognizant, have full recollection of things. And that is something that when I look at how can anything discourage me when I've overcome all of those things?
All those obstacles.
And so that's a whole different outlook. That's a whole different perspective. And what I'm saying to individuals, listen, I know that the current situation seems sometimes to be insurmountable, but I promise you that it's not. This is a time that you do speak to your mountain. But your mountain, speaking to your mountain, don't begin with just opening your mouth. It starts with what you're thinking, being released from your mouth. Words of victory, words of optimism, words of hope, and beginning to move forward inside of things. And the other thing is being thankful for what you have right now. Right now, I discovered something and I shared it with my second oldest son when I was there with him Thanksgiving. And I talked about this is his first year as being a parent. This is his first Christmas, being a parent. And we started talking about it. He was just saying, hey, I just got to, I got to make it work for my kid. I got a family now. I got to do these things. And I looked at him and I smiled. I said, I want to remind you of a Christmas. I want to remind you that if you called, every year wasn't always great. And I remember for me as a parent, I was carrying so much weight because it didn't look like I was going to be able to get the things I wanted to give. And it was interesting. And they always wanted to get little things as well. But I was able to get them some things. But the thing that got me is when I got to them, they had nothing to give, but they wrote letters and notes. And out of all of the kids'
That's
notes,
powerful.
I had his letter and note, and I have it still to this day. It was in a little gift box. And then
Yes.
what he said to me about all the things that you meant to me, Dad. You're the strongest person I know. Dad, you always see, and all of those things there spoke to me because not one thing said you buy me everything that I want. Not
Right.
one said no. It was a matter of not presence, but presence. My presence
Yes.
in their life, my
Yes.
involvement. And so I say to the person who may feel like giving up, who may feel like they're inadequate, they don't have what they need. Listen, your presence mean a whole lot
Yes.
more than you can ever believe. And your presence will go much further than presence. And so recognize you have value, you have worth, you do mean something to someone. And listen, and for no other reason, you need to stay around because the fact somebody's looking up to you, somebody believing you, even when you don't believe in yourself.
Yes.
So it's worth it. And so as we enter this holiday season, as we're just days away from Christmas, I want to encourage you, listen, grab the real reason. Peace on earth, goodwill toward all men.
Yes.
Understand this is, joy to the world, the light has come. Yeah. Light. Get out of that dark place. Let that light come in and enjoy this Christmas season.
Absolutely. So, Dr. J, you wrapped it up really well about what this season is all about. And I just want to make sure that everyone knows that we love you and we are here because you're here. And your comments are often welcome. We want to hear from you, to know that you have value in what we're saying to you, that you're inspired by what we're saying to you, or if there's a show you want us to talk about.
Yeah. Put it in the
If
comments.
there's a topic you want us to talk about, post it there and we will visit it and see who we can get. If we feel that we can't
Right.
answer the questions or the topics you want, we will have professionals that will come on the show and share with you to give some light into your dream and the visions that you have for yourself. So, again, thank you for supporting us all year long. As I said, we're here because you're here, and we want to wish you the best of holidays. Good night and God bless.